So,
Anywho,
guys, the news that has been dominating, since this invasion happened, and I think Terrence, you even alluded to it, early on in the show, is that Russia has invaded the Ukraine. And I got a whole lot of thoughts on a whole lot of things about it, and I know we're going to get to some of that in the show. But there's a lot of tech angle to this, more than you might, if you really think about it. You say, "Oh yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense that that these tech angles would be there." But there's a lot of tech angles to what's going on, in the Ukraine right now. So let's go ahead and just kick this conversation off.
well, the one thing I wrote down and highlighted and circled and everything else, if they wanted to, they would. The way that these tech companies have mobilized so quickly
Should be pretty scary.
around the idea of making sure that disinformation doesn't get spread, and making sure that Ukraine still has internet access, and making sure that everything anti-Russia is eradicated from the internet altogether, or at least from these platforms, is mind-boggling to me. And it just speaks to, again, like I said, if they, and I gotta read this one quote. There was
This
one
is this
quote.
is nothing short of cyber warfare.
Well, and I think that's what that war is fought on those fronts. It's a
Hmm.
physical front and a digital front. So you gotta be prepared. So I get it. However,
Hmm.
I want to read this one quote real quick from the Slate article that we had. Though Facebook often parrots the line that it is a neutral actor in hosting content, these decisions and Russian disinformation before and during the state's attack highlight that platforms are not neutral ever in who they provide services to and how they design their platforms. So it's just, you make that parallel to Black Lives Matter, to all these other different things that get shadow banned and suppressed, and the fact that people reporting racism get blocked and banned before the racists do, and things like that. And it's just like, if they wanted to, they would. And I got to tell a real quick story, because I think, in that, it sort of happened to me today. I posted today, for the last day of Black History, I posted this video from this dude named Cashflow Harlem. He took that DMX song, "What They Really Want from a," and he made it Black History figures names in it.
Oh yeah,
When he,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it was
yeah. Right,
Keisha,
right,
Letitia, Sean,
right,
and
right, right.
he went Martin and Malcolm and da da da. And it was dope. You know what I mean? And it's literally just pictures of those famous Black folks in history, as he's rapping over them and talking about what they did and what they accomplished and everything. Nothing inflammatory, nothing crazy. I mean, Rosa Parks' picture got her mugshot, her holding her number up for a mugshot. But overall, it's just literally pictures of people's faces, Black people's faces.
Hmm.
And so I posted that, and Facebook put how they put that filter over it saying it's a sensitive video.
Hmm. Hmm.
Facebook put the filter over my joint, like, we block, we don't want to we feel like some of the information in
It's
this could be
insensitive.
triggering, so they put the
Well, you know
little
what that
sensitive
sounds like, right?
filter.
You know what that is. That's that
Mm,
critical race theory right
Listen,
there.
Sure
and
enough,
when
CRT.
I tell you, I shared it again. I shared it. After they did that, I reshared it to my page again and put the caption, "This is giving anti-CRT right now." Like, honestly,
Hmm.
because it was like, there's literally nothing in this video besides people's faces and black and their names. It's not even like what they did, or cause a riot, or do. It's literally just people's names and Black people's faces. And I thought about the Rosa Parks picture in particular, and there's a picture of Ruby Bridges, the little girl who went to the school, integrated the school in Arkansas,
Mm.
walking into the school. So I'm just
Hmm.
like, what about any of these photographs
So
could have been triggering for
so
Facebook?
Ruby
That
Bridges, she just celebrated her birthday. She just turned 66. You
Right,
think this is like ancient history?
exactly.
She just turned 66. She's younger than my mama.
There was nothing sensitive about that video whatsoever. Again, it was literally just photographs of people and their names being wrapped over DMX's beat. And Facebook did that joint quick too.
Hmm.
Literally, as soon as I posted it, I got the notification that it's being blurred with this sensitive content warning.
Hmm.
Um, like, and so I don't even know, they might have been, looking for Black History Month hashtags or
Yeah, of
creating
course.
hashtags.
Of course.
So I'm just so again, I go back to, the idea that y'all jumped on this Russia thing with both feet on this bandwagon with your
And
chest puffed out.
and at this one time, it seems like a good, positive,
Yes.
Right.
righteous thing to do,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
I am
Right.
happy that they're doing so. I mean, one of the stories here was Google. Google basically blocking, routes and stuff. Google Maps. They're blocking it so that they can't use that to find out where folks are in relative real time. And it's like, I mean, we don't even think about these things that we use every day, but yeah, they're trackers on you. So, there's that, and then.
Super useful.
Yeah, and then I posted this in like right at the last minute because it just kind of struck my eye. Where and I'll just read it here. Ukraine takes the resistance to cyberspace, assembling an IT army to hack sites from Russia and its allies. Calls on tech leaders to get involved. So they basically, you've got the country officially is calling for hackers to do as much damage as they can to the country that is attacking them right now. That is different. We haven't seen that before, to where it's like, hey, can you help us do these kind of things? And I'm going to be interested to see where this goes.
They started a Telegram group called IT Army. And I think that the last time I checked, it was like almost 200,000 people were in this group, and they're literally just asking regular citizens to help with DDoS attacks and crash websites and do that kind of thing. And I mean, like I said, I get it. It's cyber warfare. This is war as heck, basically. But if they wanted to, they would. That's all I'm saying. If they wanted to,
they decide to flip that switch on something else.
And
target a different group of people, or target a different country.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Take the filter off my Black History Month post. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm looking in the camera. Take the filter off.
So I'm glad that this is the last thing we're going to talk about as far as this story goes. But we got to ask the question: Poland, why ain't you letting Black folks in Ukraine out the country?
So what I heard,
for real?
So what I heard is it's Poland's like, no, we're letting anybody cross. And and then you go to the videos and you see like the folks on the Ukraine side looks like they are creating human blockades to block these African students from actually crossing into Poland. So it's all, nobody knows what exactly is going on, with the exception of there are some African students who are trying to cross into Poland to get it. Well, they ain't got nothing to look. My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. They just trying to get to safety. And for whatever reason, whether it be Ukrainian soldiers or Poland border control, they are not letting these kids get through.
That's right. That's right. And they some of them have said the actual Ukrainian people have been very helpful, but Ukrainian law enforcement and Ukrainian military, pushing them out of line, saying the Ukrainians take precedence. We have to help Ukrainians first, and all of that other stuff, which defies UN Convention for Refugees, mind you. And it's just not cool. There's hotels in Poland that tell them, the students, that they only cater to Europeans. So it's just like, racism, even you can't even get away from racism in war.
I'm not going to paint the entire country of the Ukraine, but I am going to say this: you're not going to find the Ukraine on a green book. You're just not. So what was really interesting, it's not shocking, but it is interesting, is that so you got these folks who 2 weeks ago, you ain't even want them in the country. You was doing everything you could do to get them out. You didn't want them there. You didn't want them going to your universities. You did not want them getting medical degrees from the universities. That I'm not saying anything that's controversial. This is just how it is there. But now that they're trying to get out, now, no, you can't go for real though. And I'm just like, that actually made me mad. You're not gonna let these folks get to safety. They gotta,
And not only that, talk about refugees, right? This is a bigger picture that just caught my attention today. And it's like, look at that, how that works, right? So on all this, there's a lady on Twitter that did a good job of posting a thread of how all of the different media
Oh
outlets
my God, the media has been
are
horrible. The media has
how
been
they
straight
are
trash.
describing these refugees. And
The
refugees
media
I'm
has
talking
been
about, not just
trash.
African ones, just Ukrainian people trying
Hmm.
to get over into some of these other countries, Poland, Europe, wherever, neighboring, whatever, and they're they're saying, well, we just never thought
Right.
that
So
these
many
people,
educated
yeah, and European
civilized
and
and
civilized, they're making them regular looking. I've heard,
yo,
like
the
you said,
media has been
European. I've
such
heard white.
trash.
I've heard blue hair, blue eye, blonde hair. They're jumping through all of these links to describe these refugees because
Right.
they don't want them to be even put
To
in
be
the
lumped
Yeah.
same
into,
category of a
yeah.
traditional refugee. And I'm talking about, think of just what happened earlier this summer. The Afghan refugees trying to leave Afghanistan because U.S. was pulling out. They called
Hmm.
them, oh, we don't want to
Oh, it was
accept them
all kind of
people.
stuff. Yeah.
It was all kind of pushed back to where we don't want to bring these people in. Think about the Mexican or
The
South
Haitians.
Americans,
The Haitians
and
that can't never get into,
right,
Florida.
and think about all the South Americans that was coming up through Mexico trying to get into the United States. We had all this pushback, all these refugees, and all the things
Hmm.
we use
I
to how
wonder
we
what
just
the difference
to
was.
describe these people.
I don't know.
When
What's
Is
the
there something that's different?
difference?
Maybe
But
I don't know.
it's just
No.
amazing how these Ukrainian
Yo,
refugees,
No.
they are
there was
painted in a totally different light.
I watched one reporter literally stand there doing a live stand up saying, we really just aren't used to seeing these types of refugees. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. So why are you getting ready to say it? And anyway, he's like, I know I'm probably going to catch some heat for saying this, but these are educated people and these are, civilized people. And
Flies,
these are,
yep.
I was like,
Nah,
bruh.
that's I'm gonna go see if I can research and find this picture. But there was I don't know what country this brother that had a lot of melanin in his skin, but he had on some like bread 11s. But he was trying to get out from where he was, and that just tells you it's like those shoes here are like $300 shoes. Now maybe because he got them, they may have been knockoffs or something. I don't know, but it's like you look at this young man, and if it wasn't for the fact that his city behind him is burning, you would not think that he was anything other than a college student at any college walking around here in the United States. So it's like so yeah, that stuff got me. I'm glad this was at the end because now I'm in my feelings on this. But it's like
That's right.
But that's the
it's
positive
in a
of social
war.
media, I
Even in a
think.
war, we can't get the same kind of
Exactly.
treatment
Yeah,
in
but
in a war.
but I think that's the benefit of social media because
Absolutely.
people, we just as quick as we are to argue, or just as quick as to talk in these vacuums, the ability to quickly fact check and to quickly call out inaccuracies or just egregious
Or just call
things,
out bad behavior. That's right.
and just call out bad behavior as it's happening, not 5 years later, not
Hmm.
3 months ago. 2 minutes after somebody says something, we can actually flock to social media and get the truth, or
Yeah.
maybe just not the truth,
And
just an
hopefully
alter.
create some change, and I mean,
Right,
we
right.
not I believe this is a unjust war, so y'all can go ahead keep putting y'all Ukraine flags as your profile pictures and all of that, but we can walk and chew gum at the same time, and we can talk about how this might be an unjust war, but also how African students and other people of color in Ukraine are not being treated fairly during this process.
And
So
how
those two
Ukrainian
things, yeah,
refugees are being treated differently than
those two things can be true at
regular
the same
refugees.
time.
Yep.
So, I knew when this started going down and you started hearing about the tech angles that were coming out, it's like, are we going to have to juxtapose how things are happening here as compared to, let's say, in the Congo or in parts of Africa?
Where's
Are we,
Elon Musk's
are we,
Starlink
yeah, are we
satellite
going to have to,
program?
are we going to have to call that out? And it's like, and I struggle with doing that because I do want to make this point. This country is under siege. It's been invaded by a nuclear power, and
Yeah,
people are talking about
yeah,
how
it's a serious
bad,
issue.
Putin is doing right now with his own public opinion. I do know this. This bruh sits next to a button that he could
Yeah,
destroy Earth multiple times over.
yeah.
So that is different. and why we're not necessarily going to just go in and we got you, Ukraine. We're going to go ahead and push this back. We're going to do sanctions. We're going to do everything the way that America always does it. But it's like, isn't it the same argument? Couldn't you be doing this in Africa? Couldn't you be doing this in Burma? Couldn't you be doing this in other places? But we didn't have to even go there. We don't have to make a juxtaposition of this is what it's like here and this is what it's like in Africa. No, we could actually do it in the Ukraine. It's like they are not letting people out. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So that was very interesting to me. All that being said, I'm with the people of the Ukraine that ain't keeping black folks from getting out your country. I'm with you. It's like, I stand with you. I ain't necessarily trying to hack anything because that's still illegal. And I'm not good at that, but yeah, I feel for these folks. I'm praying for them. I hope that this gets resolved more quickly than
thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. There you go.
That's a good way to put it.
Elon Musk is not only sending Starlink terminals there so the people of Ukraine can have internet access. He's also adding free charging stations at the borders of Ukraine and Poland, Ukraine and Hungary for Teslas or just EV charging stations as well. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not mad. And I mean, he did take those big batteries, his little battery company down in Puerto Rico when they had the hurricane and everything else. So, I'm not mad. And like I said, and I definitely don't want to see this happening. It pains me that this is happening. But again, two things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So just to lighten it up a little bit, have you guys seen where, clearly the Ukraine is a no-fly zone? Well, not clearly to some countries, not to India, but Ukraine is a no-fly zone. So I don't know that regular people who don't fly a lot, or even some who do, they don't realize how many planes are in the air at the same time, just because, the atmosphere is an awfully big, thing, and you don't necessarily see other planes if you're not right at the airport. Right. But if you were to look at where planes are in real time on a map, they are all outside of the no-fly zone that is now the Ukraine, with the exception of this one Indian flight. And they was like, nah, we just gonna go ahead and just fly right through the middle.
They didn't hear about it.
We got some place to be real quick. We ain't gonna try to fly around.
Y'all didn't put in on this gas money. So
so it's funny. So there are memes everywhere. There are memes everywhere. Some of them are funny. There's like one is the funniest is basically like like it's a red button that says divert, or no, it's a blue button that says divert, and then it's a red button that says just plow through. And I'm just like, and then it shows the plane literally just flying right across the middle of the of the country. So yeah, it's like I remember, was it 7-8 years ago that there was some Russian separatist or something like that actually shot down, a plane? That's in my memory, and I'm not a pilot, so I'm thinking that if you're a pilot, you probably don't want to be flying over a country where there's armed conflict going on right now.
Yeah, and them pilots was asleep. That autopilot was on. They weren't paying no attention. They was chilling.